Welcome, Sister Sakira, Sharifa Shakira. And now, first, I would like to introduce myself and to my institution to you, and then we'll go to the discussion of today's talk. I am Shariful Islam, coordinator of International Research Center, SIMEC Institute of Technology. International research centers do multidisciplinary research pertaining to domestic and international issues. One of our research area is that post-migration and refugees. And this webinar series is dedicated to the Rohingya refugee issue. And today's talk is that ending the refugeehood, Rohingya Youth Voices. Particularly, this aim of this webinar is to understand what the Rohingya refugees or the Rohingya people, particularly the youth, think what could be the possible solution to end the refugeehood, and what should be the role of the Rohingya community itself to achieve the solution, and how do they think what should be the role of international community. Today's we have guests from the Rohingya refugee camps and FDM camps from Bangladesh. We have a speaker from India. We have a speaker from USA as well. So first, I welcome all of you, and I share my gratitude from on behalf of my institution that you have kindly agreed to give your valuable times and agreed to speak for this program. So among the speakers, first I want to set out the layout, how the webinar will be conducted. So first I will give questions, and then I will ask all the speakers to intervene. Each and every speaker will be given 4 to 5 minutes to give to share their initial thoughts, and then we'll go to the next round of discussion. And then if there is a Q&A, we'll take that Q&A at the end of the discussion. First, I would like to request you to maintain that when we are speaking in a public platform, be careful what we speak, and so that it does not spoil the environment that we are using. And also, we have to give time to each and every speaker, and there are other audience also who also would like to intervene. So that I request all the speakers to stick to the 4 to 5 minutes initially, and then we will go to the next speaker. First, I would like to ask each and every speaker their initial comments, like just taking 2017 at the large massive scale, Rohingya people came in Bangladesh. It's been more than 7 years, nearly 7.5 years. And then the recent situation in Arakan also forcing Rohingya people to leave Arakan, and more people coming to Bangladesh. So when there are nearly 1 million people in Bangladesh, and other maybe 2 to 300,000 people across the world staying as a on refugee status or without refugee status. This situation in 2024 has been a remarkable remarkable development in a sense that the Arakan Army is taking over the Arakan State. So when Rohingya people, like in this condition, what the Rohingya community think could be a viable solution. So first, I would like to invite our brother Rohingya Khan. He is speaking from FDM camp, Cox's Bazar. He is the founder and executive director of Rohingya Advocacy and Awareness Association. Brother Rohingya, you can speak 4 to 5 minutes. What do you think could be the solution to end the refugeehood of the Rohingya community?
Thank you, dear brothers Sariful Islam, for inviting me here and the SIMEC Institute of Technology for organizing this important webinar. So, dear participant and esteemed advocate and respected member of the international community, this is Ro Mujib Khan, a Rohingya activist and human rights defender, speaking to you today as a voice for over 1 million Rohingya who have endured unimaginable suffering. Firstly, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the SIMEC Institute of Technology and Sariful Islam. This platform provides us with an opportunity to shed light on our crisis and explore sustainable solutions today. Today, I will discuss 4 pressing questions that Sariful Islam mentioned to all of us that encapsulate the essence of the Rohingya struggle and the collective path forward. The solution to end refugeehood. Ending refugeehood for the Rohingya people requires sustainable and comprehensive solution. Our demands are simple but essential. Citizenship, equality, safety, and dignity. These are not privilege. They are fundamental human rights that have been systematically denied to us for decades. Here are the key components of the solution.
So you can continue. You can continue. My question was
Yeah.
that what could be the solution to
Immediate,
end this?
I am continuing. Immediate access to the full citizenship right, recognizing us as Rohingya, our rightful identity, rather than term imposed to erase our existence. Establishing a safe zone in Rakhine State under international peacekeeping force to guarantee our security. Implementing a transitional justice mechanism to address the genocide and ensure accountability for crimes committed against us. International monitoring mechanism to safeguard our right post repatriation and prevent future cycle of displacement. Addressing crime such as forced recruitment, human trafficking, and drone attack against the Rohingya civilian, ensuring that these atrocities come to an end. Now, I am going to say the impact of current development in Rakhine State. The situation in Arakan marked by the Arakan Army's control and ongoing conflict with the Myanmar military junta pose significant challenges to our safe return. The ceasefire's breakdown has exacerbated instability in 3 Rohingya majority towns, displacing many and eroding hope of early repatriation. In recent statement of ALP that repatriation is not feasible under the AA, Arakan Army, as the political dynamic of Myanmar are unprecedented. If I brief toward the point, the political landscape underscores the urgency for international regional stakeholder geopolitical support and ASEAN intervention for the sustainable solution, while some view the Arakan Army's presence as a potential complication and give close attention to civilize in the standard of modern civilization. We must remain steadfast in our demand for security, recognition, and justice. Now, unity among the Rohingya. The Rohingya community is united in its fundamental aspiration, despite diverse perspectives on a strategic. Our ultimate goal include the right to return to our homeland, full citizenship and legal recognition, justice for the atrocities committed against us, international guarantees for our protection. Our strength lies in this unity of purpose, which must guide us as we navigate challenge and opportunities alike. Role of the international community to play in our crisis. The international community has a moral and legal obligation to act decisively. The following steps are crucial. Ensuring targeted sanction against the perpetrator of genocide and operation. Facilitating safe, dignified, and voluntary repatriation with international guarantees. Supporting the establishment of transitional justice mechanism to ensure accountability. Pressuring regional power like China and India to adopt constructive role in resolving this crisis. Finding education, mental health services, livelihood program for the Rohingya crisis in the refugee camp. Furthermore, international rights groups must document ongoing crime in both Rakhine State and refugee camp, ensuring that justice is served. In conclusion, the Rohingya crisis is not just a humanitarian issue, it is a test of our shared humanity. Our people have endured decades of systematic persecution. Yet our hope endures, but hope alone is not enough. We need action that restore our dignity, protect our right, and ensure our future. I urge the international community to stand with us, not in word, but in deed. Together we can end the cycle of displacement and oppression, paving the way for a future where Rohingya children grow up in their homeland, free from fear and full of dream. The time to act now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, brother. Like you have covered all the question that I have asked. My initial thought was to ask you to respond the first question, but yeah, it's good that you have wrap up everything, whatever you had in mind. So now I will go to another speaker who is also from FDM camps. If like he is here, Ro Yasin Abdul Monaf. Is he? Oh, he hasn't joined yet. So now I will go to another of our speaker who is has been in the Rohingya refugee camp, Kutupalong refugee camp since 1992, and he left Myanmar when he was 2 years old. I am requesting Imran Muhammad to speak. Imran Muhammad is a social worker and a refugee rights activist, and he was a former elected chairperson of the Rohingya refugee camp in Kutupalong. So now, floor to you, Imran Muhammad. Like as we have heard one of Romujib who came in 2017, and you were in Bangladesh nearly 3 decades. What kind of solution you envision to end the refugee route? Imran Mohammed.
Thank you, Shariful Bhai, and thanks everyone. It is nice to talk here, and thank you for the opportunity to speak about our people. So, yeah, refugee crisis is a big challenge, globally. It has become a big challenge for the hosting country as well. So we know we have been here for a long time, and the refugees from Myanmar have been frequently fleeing to Bangladesh since several decades ago. So it is a long-standing crisis. So when it comes about the solution, we need to talk about how this crisis has been created. We have to talk about the root cause and the challenge the refugees are going through, and the role of international community and the role of the community, as you said, and the role of the hosting country, especially. So it is very important for us to discuss these things to to the national platform or international platform. So I think the international community and the Bangladesh has a significant role to play to address this crisis. As we have been living in Bangladesh for a long time, and they have to host us, multiple times, before 2017 as well. So I think so. There is a big challenge. We have lack of willingness. If you talk about the political issues, most of the time this Rohingya crisis is mostly neglected um, by the international community. I don't know why. So people look for the political interest when they want to uh, intervene or role to play a role in this kind of crisis. This refugee crisis is not only a crisis for Bangladesh, it is also a crisis, a regional crisis, and an international crisis as well. So it's impacting the country, in like India, Bangladesh, Malaysia, Thailand. So I think they have a role to play to find a durable solution to this crisis. So we have to discuss, um, to the different uh, parties related to this crisis and how they can uh, collectively work to find a sustainable solution to this crisis. So for that, we need the willingness to have these people, especially the refugees, because they are the survivor, they are the victims. So we need to empower them. We need to think in a meaningful way, in a constructive way. So if we sincerely want to end this crisis, so otherwise, I don't think so if we can talk about, we can keep talking, for hours, days. So without, any constructive action to end this crisis. So, like we have been here for 3 decades, more than 3 decades. What happened to us? So there is no chance of our situation. So I think for that we need to, the powerful uh, community need to play a strong role to pressure Myanmar to to end this crisis, because the root cause is the Myanmar. Myanmar is the one who created this crisis. So we need to focus on that, and we need to also talk to Bangladeshi government policy maker. So they have, first what I think is, the refugees themselves have a crucial role to play, you know, and we have to empower them in a meaningful way. So we have been seeing this the lack of willingness to empower the refugees. I don't know why. We can talk about this maybe later. And so this is, I think we have a lot of, we have some people here, they have been experiencing this brutality, the injustice. to them. So we are a kind of tired of all this injustice, unfairness, discrimination uh, for our entire life. So we have been, we are a kind of the injustice, all these wrong things has been normalized to our life, because we have been facing all this injustice, unfairness. Uh, so it's been a very, traumatic experience for all the refugees. So these people need to be in a healthy environment where they can think in a productive way, so they can play a role to their crisis. So it is important. I always talk about how community can play a role, and how we have to talk about the fact that the international community and the Bangladeshi government, how they can work together to help this community to find to help themselves, find a durable solution. We have to talk about the realistic way, so they can help themselves. So I think we can talk later, maybe more about this. And thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Imran Bhai. Our today's webinar is on the Rohingya issue, ending the refugeehood and Rohingya Youth Voices. So this specific session is to understand what the refugee or Rohingya youth think about the solution to end the refugeehood. Now I will ask our brother Peter Saiful to speak that what he thinks to end the refugeehood of the Rohingya. I would like to now introduce in briefly Peter Saiful, work as a representative of the Rohingya Christian community and serving as a pastor at Bethel Church. So now I invite Peter Saiful to speak for 5 minutes on how to end the Rohingya refugee.
So thank you for inviting me and or including me to this wonderful webinar, and I'm grateful to everyone join, and there are my elders, and yeah, respects to all of them, and great loves and peace. So as we are talking about the ending of a refugeehood, so I have to go to back to some years back or decades. So far I know we heard about the refugee that since 1978 the Rohingya community become stateless. They have taken away the citizenships and kicked out from the country and have been living in Bangladesh as a refugee. And I was also in Nayapara camp, Nayapara refugee camp back in 2000. My family arrived in Nayapara camp 1991. So, and we have been living there, and there was a repatriation. So what I want to say is repatriation. So the refugee, so ending the refugeehood. So it must be a voluntarily repatriation, like we know about the repatriation back in 2003, and there was a repatriation which was forceful repatriation, and they repatriated the Rohingya, and they were living in Myanmar, and again they back in after 4 or 5 years the Rohingya fled to the Bangladesh just to seek safety and security about their lives. So, and what is happening inside Myanmar, we are aware of the situation. Everyone knows about this, and the situation of Burma, and the remaining Rohingya, they are waiting at the border. So, as of current situation and the situation in Bangladesh, so I don't see. So, until international community put pressure on the government of Myanmar, or talk more about in details about the situation, they must recognize what is happening, and they must talk more about in details about what's happening inside Myanmar. So people are suffering. So we have relatives there, and we are taking update from what's happening in Bali Bazaar and Butidong. There are many things happening that we don't know, but we can imagine what is happening. So that's why, to end the refugee crisis, and for a permanent solution, everyone must talk, must act in real, and this must be actually not talking on online or just a statement, but we have to ensure, we have to make it like it is practically happening. And so above all, so there is a pending, we know about the case, and if so, international community must talk about the situation to end the refugee crisis. Otherwise, there is no solution. The solution, it will be pending. So that's all I want to say from my side in a short time. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Now I will go to one of the guests, and she is joining from USA, and it's very morning for her. So good morning to Sharifa Shakira. And Sharifa Shakira, she is a prominent women rights activist, and she is the founder and director of the Rohingya Women Development Network. And now I request Sharifa Shakira to speak.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for involving me as well in this discussion, even though it's last minute. But I feel that it is important that our voice to be heard. So for me, ending the refugeehood requires a combination of prevention measures, including humanitarian efforts and long-term political and economic strategies. While solutions are context dependent on the international community, must work together to address the root causes of displacement, provide effective protection, and offer durable solution that allows refugees to rebuild their lives in safety and dignity. As we all know that preventing conflict and promoting peace is the most important things that I feel that we all needing it right now. As other refugees in this world, because of the violence, we left our country, and we need the violence, the peace and the resolution to take place in Burma, in Arakan, where we live first. So again, for this, we need diplomatic efforts, peacekeeping, and addressing the root causes of the conflict. We really need to understand. I mean, it's been several years, but people still not understanding what is causing this migration, why Rohingya is becoming refugees, why we still flee in our country. Instead of blaming, I think we need to understand the root cause of it. And with that, I also believe that humanitarian assistance and protection is very important. We need immediate protection and assistance, including food, shelter, healthcare, education. This is the needs that every human needs. Being inside the camp, being a refugee who are not allowed to go out and work, who are not allowed to access anything, including education and healthcare. I feel like it is essentials as a human to live. So we as a human, we need this as well. And I really saying, meaning it, because what I'm seeing for now is Rohingya are not seen as like other refugees crisis. We've been sidelined. So we have to remind the world that we are people that need this essential as well. And of course, the durable solutions for us will be to be able to return to our homes. Of course, it have to be with the dignity and voluntarily. And while we be able to return to our home should be safe first. And with that, I also would like to say that local integration is very important. Refugees should be given an opportunity to integrate into their host society by being granted temporary shelter seeking, which will allow them to access education, healthcare, employment opportunity. By doing this, it will allow the Rohingya refugees to contribute to their new community and rebuild their lives. And thirdly, I will say that resettlement. Resettlement is an opportunity that should be an option for the refugee, for the Rohingya, like any other refugees in this world. If we cannot return home and if we cannot integrate locally, resettlement should be the third solution. And this means resettlement, like I myself been resettled in 2019, being a refugee for 21 years in Malaysia. Finally, I was given the rights. And this is so important is because today you are hearing my voice. It's because I'm in a safe place and I can openly speak for myself and for my community. And with that, I can contribute to my community, to my Rohingya cause without any fear to be arrested, without any fear to be silent. And it's also empower the next generation. So I really feel that resettlement should not be seen as a not an option things, but should be seen as one of the solution to resolve our solution. With that, I will also say that international cooperation and responsibility sharing should be another things that play in resolving this refugeehood. The international community, United Nations, things like they have to come forward and be responsible and taking it as things that we need to solve it together rather than just putting on the host country and letting they themselves solve the solutions. I think we really need a comprehensive legal framework, national and international law that should be aligned to protect refugee rights and offer legal pathway to asylum and migration that will reduce the need of dangerous, irregular migration routes, which I'm talking about the trafficking. And trafficking is kind of being one of the way to escape, and many people has been victimized through this road. And we have seen mostly women and girls are the first victim, and we need to stop this. We need to provide refugee a better solution. And with that, I would like to end with the public awareness. We still need to educate the world about refugee, why we leave our country. We all been saying we never want to leave our country if our country is safe, and that's true. We leave everything behind and move forward, put ourselves in dangerous road, go into a new country. It's not a fun thing. We have to do it as human to survive. We all want to be safe, and everyone around us some way have a responsibility to provide us that safety. And lastly, I would say that accountability is also very important. Holding the perpetrators accountable. Our case, that ongoing case in ICC and ICJ, have to be, pushed for further, and we cannot give up until our rights, our freedom is given to us. Until we get it. It's not just one victory, but until we get it, we have to hold on to it, and we cannot get tired. I see that people are kind of not having the trust on accountability and justice mechanism. It's slow, but trust me, it will happen, and we will be able to go back to our land and enjoy our freedoms wherever we are one day. So I would like to say that resolving the refugeehood is not only an effort that the host community should take, but it should be taken by everyone, including the international community, the justice mechanism, the locals, and refugee themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, sister. You have given a comprehensive explanation with the logical arguments that what should be the priority and how the international community, including the host community and the host society, should also think the Rohingya refugees. And also, like you have pointed out, three classical solutions that the refugee crisis that end the refugeehood. So, as in today's discussion, ending the refugeehood, Rohingya Youth Voices. So as of now, we have got a comprehensive description, and now I would like to go another prominent Rohingya rights activist, and he is joining us from India. He is Ali Johar, and I know him for a time since 2015. Ali Johar is a co-lead, a global movement against statelessness. He is an award-winning prominent Rohingya human rights activist, practitioner, and a stateless activist. He founded Rohingya Human Rights Initiative, a community-based support and campaign organization, and he's also supported and founded Rohingya literacy program to help the Rohingya children to access formal education in India. Now I request Ali Johar to speak on the question that how to end the refugeehood of the Rohingya.
Thanks, brothers. Shariful, for inviting me. I feel like, when I'm asked to speak at the in the last order, I feel like I'm put into a very difficult situation because all the colleagues and brothers and sisters who spoke before me are very much expertise on the issues and already have enlightened on the matter. And when I have to speak at the last, I have to make sure that I don't repeat the things they have already mentioned. But definitely it's a privilege to be sharing the panel with Sister Sharifa, Brother Mujib, and Brother Imran and Saiful, who have more expertise than me, I believe. But I would just focus on 2-3 things. As everyone, all the other, panelists have mentioned, accountability, responsibility, and protection, all these are some of the crucial things. But I just wanted to emphasize that to end the refugeehood, we have to understand why refugees become refugees. And with that simple questions, there are past, direction we get. And from that, I think if we try to understand that and strategically we think how we can, intervene, then only we will find some of the strong solutions. So why refugees become refugees? Because their home become unsafe or they are targeted there. And as other speakers have spoken about already, root cause. I think that's one of the main issue when we are trying to resolve refugee crisis, we'll have to be focusing on. When root cause are not addressed, even though we might be putting, our 100% effort or the resources we have around the world for any issues, we might be able to temporarily support or give protective mechanism. But when the root cause are not addressed, the refugees will be keep produced. So as the situation in Arakan is drastically changing and stakeholders are changing drastically. Earlier, it was military, then the civilian government. Now, recently, we have all seen that the Arakan Army has claimed that they are they are controlling majority of the Arakan, and maybe within next few days, a couple of months, we'll see a news where Arakan Army or the ULA has announced that they are controlling the entire Arakan. Now, when we are looking at the accountability and the perpetration done by the military previously, there are claims that and feasible and credible news coming from inside the Arakan that the Arakan Army is also targeting the Rohingyas in a similar way, even in some situation, brutal ways than the military have targeted the Rohingyas. So I think we'll also have to talk about the accountability. When we talk about the accountability part, we'll also have to talk about all the other actors that are involved, maybe directly or implicitly. So whatever the situation or the feasibilities are, any area which is being controlled by any group has the responsibility to protect the people who are there within that territory. So earlier, when we called the Myanmar government or military to protect the further destruction of protect the Rohingyas in Arakan and stop the further destruction. But now I think the Arakan Army should be held accountable for the crimes they're doing, as well as should be called to protect the Rohingyas that are still remaining in Arakan. At the same time, the international government should pressurize. I think this is a really right time for the international community as well as the Bangladesh, because for Bangladesh, even they can't continue to take the burden of hosting millions of Rohingya refugees. At the same time, they can't be, just held alone when resolving the issue at the same time to providing protection. In the international mechanism, there are something called, shared responsibility, and the regional countries must come up with a shared strategy that protect the Rohingyas in Arakan as well as outside Arakan. Bangladesh have recently taken a very positive stance by appointing an advisor, an envoy on the Rohingya issue. But I just wanted to emphasize that no one can be better advisor than the Rohingyas themselves to give solution or advice on the Rohingya issues. Bangladesh needs to utilize that opportunity because Bangladesh is hosting more than 1 million Rohingya refugees, and they can very much find hundreds of people like Brother Imran and Brother Mujib to support Bangladesh in resolving the issues. And having said that, I think no one should control any decision or any issues that directly impact my life. It's, I think, me who should decide how my life should shape and how my future should look like and what should be there. Is whatever is impacting my life, it's I who should be deciding, not I who should be standing like a statue. I think all the regional countries, including Bangladesh, should be reconsidering on that Rohingya should be given a chance to sit on the table and make their own decision, because there can be no one else better to understand Rohingya issues as well as to bring a solution better than Rohingyas to the Rohingya themselves. And regional countries who are hosting Rohingyas, including Bangladesh, should bring up policies that lessens the dependency of the Rohingyas on humanitarian assistance, by allowing them local integration. It can be formalized in a way if countries, have concerns that if refugees would try to acquire citizenship, which is a different discussion, definitely. But there are other examples in various regional countries, as well as in Africa, in Western countries, where friendly policies for the refugees have resulted in positivity, even in, refugees creating economic opportunity for the host communities. I mean, what a waste of a huge human resource if 1 million people should be fenced in a cramped camp. When we look at the history, we thought camps and concentrations belonged to Nazis. But it seems as humans, we never learn from our history. I think anyone should not be forced into living in any kind of concentration camp, including the Rohingyas. The Myanmar military, Arakan Army, all the cruel actors who have been cruel to Rohingyas were inhumane on Rohingyas. But I think the countries or the people who are protecting the Rohingyas, or where Rohingyas are taking refuge, should not be mirroring the Myanmar military or the Arakan Army or the people who have perpetrated crimes against Rohingyas or anyone else inside Myanmar. I mean, the countries who are protecting and providing safe space for the Rohingyas can be better by not mirroring the Myanmar military. I think I just wanted to focus on, point out another important point. Recently, I have seen many international communities and the policy advisors are leaning towards the Arakan Army as a solution for the Rohingyas. This can be there can be conflicting debate and understanding about it. But any group who call themselves a resistant group should not be idealistically based on extremism or racism, or should not be just on the basis of that, we would protect this group, we don't protect this group. That's not an idealistic resistance would look like, in my sense. In my understanding, this definitely fall under something called extremism and the racism. And extremism and racism cannot bring peace to any situation. Rather, it will bring more conflict and more destruction and more security issues for the region. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm happy to answer if there are any questions or any follow-up discussions.
Okay, thank you, Alijo, for giving a very quite interesting explanation and specific on the current situation in the Arakan and how it's going to impact the process of repatriation, and also like you have advised how the Bangladesh should rethink its strategy while appreciating Bangladesh's initiative, and also spoke on like include the Rohingya in the discussion and the policy formulation so that they can have a sustainable solution. So as all of the speaker has spoken, I will also ask other participants to speak. But before that, like as the discussion unfolded, and it is also one of Today's discussion's main point is also to understand that all of you have in a way talked about repatriation as one of the prioritized solution, and it is not possible temporary. That Sister Sharifa has also said, and Alivar also said that okay, temporary the Rohingya can be given opportunities to locally integrate, get jobs, or engage in the economic activity, access to education or other basic services, and if not, then the Rohingya should be given, as Sharifa has pointed out, the opportunity to resettlement. Now, like, okay, take the, like, if as all the Rohingya wants to go back, but and you all have spoken on that the international community should pressurize on Myanmar. Now, as we are well aware about that the Arakan Army has captured a part of Arakan, and Arakan Army is a Rakhine nationalist army who wants home rule or supremacy of their own ethnic ideology kind of thing. My question is that does Arakan army recognize the Rohingya community as Rohingya? Or like if they does or does not, is it willing to take the Rohingya back to Arakan? Hypothetically, I am assuming that, okay, now the Arakan is in their full control. Will it be possible for the Rohingya to return to Arakan? So anyone can intervene among the speaker, and also the other who have participated, like Hafizur Rahman, Sajad, Panthar, they can also engage with the discussion now. Like my question is that does Arakan Army recognize Rohingya as Rohingya? Because all of your presentation was that you want to go back to your country with recognition of your ethnic identity and citizenship. So now the very first question comes: if Arakan control whole part of Arakan, Arakan Army controls whole part of Arakan, will it be possible for the Rohingya to go back with the recognition? Or in this situation, Bangladesh as a host country, to whom it should approach to talk? What the Rohingya people think about that? As Alizor has said that the Rohingya should be consulted. Anyone? Like Imran, Peter Saiful, Rajiv?
Thank you. It is a very important point, you know. I was also agree with Johar Bhai. He said something, he pointed out something excellent, you know, which is very useful for our crisis. You know, it seems like this crisis is a never-ending crisis. You know, sometimes we feel they put it that way because as we look back, we have been always saying there is the inaction of international community, and there is no proper policy from the hosting country and the effective measure from international community. We know there has been a lot of you know, talk about this crisis, but what is lacking here? We have to think about it, and we have to reflect about this. What is lacking here, and the root cause, and the willingness, and the lack of you know, genuinely empowering the refugees, the Rohingya people. And this is the most important point I realized being a refugee living here. We see we have, you know, when there is a talk, when there is a dialogue about the refugees, about the Rohingya people, we always see someone else is talking on behalf of us, and we are not there, you know. It can be in an international forum or anywhere. It is not necessarily I have to be there, but someone from our community who can, represent the entire community, talk in a constructive, in a wise way, in an intellectual way to represent the community. And that will bring more effective attention, more effective, result for the community, to end this crisis. And this is, I am talking about this because we have been seeing and experiencing the, rejection. Especially we can say it is not only, we are not being only neglected, we are being rejected, by the parties who are talking about us. So it should be must, to include the Rohingya people when there is talk about them, and there is any policy about them. So it should be that way, and this is why our request should be, request. We can only request for international community this to help us in a meaningful way, in a constructive way, where
Okay.
this community can play themselves,
Yeah. Imran bhai, thank
yeah.
you. Thank you. We'll come back again to you. Now I request Ali Johar to speak on the questions that I asked. That does Arakan Army recognize Rohingya as Rohingya, and how can we going to see if there is a repatriation happen, whether it will be viable or not? Like, okay, now all the Rohingya wants to go, Bangladesh international community wants to send, but will it be possible for them to go in this kind of situation or not?
Yeah, brother, this is really important question and very timely as well. I think Rohingya not need any validation or any community, any country to tell that you are Rohingya or you are not Rohingya. It is Rohingya who decide whether they are Rohingya or not. When I said I am Ali Johar, I don't think Brother Shariful has the right to say you are not Ali Johar, you're Imran. So it's I who decide whether I am Rohingya or not. And nobody has the right to change that identity from me. Whether AA recognize or the question around this, I think rather the discussion is that it is for AA an opportunity to prove that they have not been cruel, because there are credible allegations against them and there are investigations going on for their crimes against the Rohingyas and civilians, about rape, destructions, direct killing, indiscriminate attacks. And as AA is trying to call themselves, or as under an objective, they are working on a greater legitimacy for the Arakan as a separate country. AA should seize the opportunity now, before it's too late, to allow Rohingyas go back, peacefully coexist, and at the same time facilitate international community to support the reconstruction of the all the communities that have faced the brutal attacks by the Myanmar military, as well as a peaceful Arakan with the help of the international community and the neighboring countries that are trying to support the cause. As now Arakan Army has seized, they have announced that they are controlling the Myanmar-Bangladesh border. there can be better time than now for AE to approach neighboring countries to help them allow Rohingyas go back to their home safely, with security and dignity. And the support that are available in the Rohingya refugee camps in Bangladesh, to shift that inside Arakan to help rebuild the communities there. And there are also instances where Arakan armies and some officials have, and I think it's from both the communities, that there are attempts of spreading misinformations. I think that also needs to be addressed. So as Arakan Army and the ULA have better positions in Arakan now, they should prove that they are not actually the perpetrators. But if it is too late for them to do that, or they are not willing to do that, there will be a day when we see they are being held accountable in similar way that Me Online is being accountable. But no one, including Arakan Army or the Myanmar military or anyone else, will be able to ever stop the objectives of Rohingyas. The greater objective is that we will definitely one day go back to our country and we will exist there. And no one will be able to stop that. Maybe for temporary, then they will be held accountable for the crimes they are doing. I think I'm speaking too much here.
Yes,
I'll
yes.
give
Yeah,
the floor
thank you.
to
Like
Sister
I
Sharifa
want,
and other brother Peter and
yeah, I
intervene
am
on this.
now request to Peter Sakulwai to speak on that issue on the Arakan and the Rohingya issue. And also, like, if anyone of you wants to intervene, that how, like, the common Rakhine people think about the situation both on the Rohingya case and the Arakan Army, whatever they are doing. What are the common Rohingya things? Like, I know that you people have still contact on the ground. So from on the contact, what do you think that is there any change on the attitude of the common Rakhine people? Because when we read news after the collapse of the after the coup in 2021, the common people have said that they were complicit in the Rohingya genocide. They feel sorry about that. How it is now, what the situation is now in 2024 when the Arakan army is taking over the state. Yeah, Peter, if you want to speak, please speak on it.
So I just want to mention or to give a short explanation about the previous question that Brother Johar already explained. At the same time, I want to add a little bit about the situation between Rohingya community and the Arakan army. It might be, or maybe they are going to take control or rule in the country very soon. We don't know yet, but there is an expectation as they are taking the control of the areas. But there are a lot of groups, they are fighting each other, or yeah. But what I want to say is the Rohingya and the Arakan army, they are likely they don't like each other, as we can see in the camps or when we so even though I don't know if Arakan army is on the role in the country, they will accept the Rohingya, even though they will accept just to get recognition from the international community. So this will not be the permanent solution to the Rohingya crisis, and this will remain like back 2003, or it will be back and forth again. So there will be no solution, as the majority are actually not with them, because there are some serious allegations against them: burning, killing children, abduction, etc., as we can see on the media. So things are really very hard to say what's going to happen. So thank you.
Okay. So, yeah, Sister Sharifa, if you want to add something on the question of Rohingya and the Arakan Army.
Sure. I mean, of course, we have mentioned the very important points. Brother Ali Johar also have mentioned it, but I would just like to add very few things. We all know that Arakan Army is taking control in Arakan now. They are even changing the name, which Arakan now is Rakhine. Similar way how Burma, the Tamado have changed, keep doing changing names and this and that. So I think, in my opinion, Arakan Army will always be the significant barriers to the safe and sustainable return of Rohingya, as we don't see any efforts of AA to peace agreement and contribute to the coexistence in Arakan that they used to be playing the words of coexistence in the beginning of their existence. And with that, because of that, I believe that without any political resolution, reconciliation, and significant international support, it is unlikely that Rohingya are able to safely return to Arakan in near future. This have to be clear and it have to be heard. Arakan Army is not our friend. In the beginning, they played this role called brothers, sisters, and coexistence, this and that. But it seems like they were just out of, I will call it drama, just to get international support. And now their ground is stronger. So they are persecuting the Rohingya in Arakan. Similarly, how Tamado, the Arakan Army have carried out their persecutions towards Rohingya. It seems like Arakan Army and military are the same one gang right now, even though they're against each other, but when it's come to Rohingya, they are the same team. Just the way, you know, the leader of the military have said that this is an unfinished business. They want to clear all the Rohingya out of the land. Arakan Army is carrying the next step of clearing the Rohingya. We have been seeing the result of it. Many people have been detained by them. Many people have been leaving the country. They are even facilitating their Rohingya to leave their country with money. They are getting the money. Also, they are fulfilling their goal in clearing Rohingya from the land. So I feel like I don't see any hope on Arakan Army, to be very sure, because their goal is not for coexistence. They want to run the Arakan by themselves. They want to be only ethnic group in Arakan. That is sound clear. With that, I also believe that in Burma, we've seen that every ethnic group have their own armed group for the self-defense purposes. And I think it is, and they are given the rights. Rohingya should be able to receive and be given the similar rights, similar opportunity to defend our land, defend ourselves. And I feel Arakan Army military need to be assured that Rohingya want our land back. And with that, they need to also, we've been threatened by them, but I'm not asking just to play the game, but I feel like without the armed group, without the self-defense group, we won't be able to go back to our land. And we have been running around the bush. I think this is not the time to run around the bush, to be really clear that we need to defend ourselves. And when Rohingya start defending themselves, of course, we need a proper structure, armed group, self-defense group, whatever you want to call. But we needed one. We need to reform, or we need to have, I don't know what is it, but we need the similar discussion in the same table with the Arakan Army and Tamado, with the self-defense group from Rohingya itself. So I hope that the world see Rohingya as the people who want to defend for themselves and for their land as equally as others in Burma as well.
Okay, thank you. Now, before going to next question, if anyone like Sajjad, Salim, and Muhammad Afsar want to speak in the platform, Salim, Sajjad, Muhammad Afsar, who have joined us.
Hello.
So, hello, yeah.
Yeah, am I audible? Like, hi. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Yes, I joined it late, but I'm thankful that I kind of joined this thing. This is a very interesting conversation. Before that, like, I should introduce myself. My name is Sajjad, and I'm based in Delhi. I'm working with R4R, Rights for Refugees, that basically fights for the cause of Rohingyas in Myanmar and I think the parts of the world around, and particularly in India as well. So I think like the discussion that Elijah brought about the current situation in Rakhine and how the kind of like the Arakan Army is kind of like creating and negotiating with not exactly negotiating, I'll say the persecuting Rohingyas in Rakhine, and the way and the way they covered the entire area in Rakhine area, in like all the parts of Arakan in Rakhine. I think like before just getting into this thing, we should also kind of like dig and get into the ideology and the sort of modus operandi they have, and the sort of like the purpose and the aims and the larger sort of like aspirations in Rakhine. And for example, I don't think so, because I had just joined it and just started working on this like project that basically deals with the sort of like the Rohingya persecution in Rakhine State, particularly by the hands of the Arakan Army. But just being a pressure into this sort of like field, into this area. But I can just only tell you that, for example, the sort of like the persecution and the sort of like, I'll say, the terror and how they are terrorizing the particular community, I don't think so their methodology in terms of operating is kind of like different from what the Tatamada or the state forces has done with the particular community from last around like say 30-40 years, and especially after 2012. So when it comes to basically the rights and sort of like and the legal rights in terms of getting a proper citizenship and having proper rights, I think the Tatamada and the state forces have completely disenfranchised the particular community, the Rohingyas in Burma. And when it comes to Rakhine, where they are primarily in majority in towns like Mongdo, in towns like Rathidong, or in towns like what we say in the areas where they are basically in majority, the Rohingyas, you see the sort of treatment of the Arakan Army with the particular community. I don't think so. Like just and the recent developments from May this year, where we have seen that so many villages in Mongda township have been completely burned down, the properties have been destroyed, and we see how basically there is this very conscious sort of like persecution of a certain community. No doubt they have their own sort of like ideology, they have their own sort of like methodology, or their aspirations within the Rakhine, that for example, if it is more coming from their other than their ethnic sort of aspirations, that they just want to be area predominantly governed by these Arakans, these Rakhine Buddhists, but you have to also locate it sort of hate and the sort of prejudice that they carry against a particular community, being it from a racial point of view or a religious point of view. So I don't think so. Like when it comes to basically just anticipating that we should basically have more sort of expectations from we can expect more when it comes to resettlement, repatriation of the Rohingya community in the Arakan. I don't think so. Like when it comes to basically persecution, when it comes to exploitation and marginalization and disenfranchising a particular community, we can expect much from the Arakan Army, because their objective is very kind of like in line with what the state has been doing from last say 50, 60, 70 years, like very gradually, although it has intensified from last 10, 12 years. And to this, like I just kind of like come up with this another point, and the sort of like how the neighboring states will kind of like negotiate and kind of like engage with the particular say Arakan Army if they will take over the entire township of the Rakhine State. I think like when the states, the neighboring states, say Bangladesh, that hosts the largest amount of these forced refugees, and say India and China and the states like Indonesia, Malaysia, they have their own sort of like aspirations when it comes to this region. And I don't think so. Like
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
they'll kind of
yeah, like, do you have any specific questions to the speaker?
yeah, I'll say like that's my point. Like I'm coming to basically that's for Ali
Yeah,
Johar. He
please,
can come up with a
please,
suggestion. How do you,
please, yeah, in a brief,
yeah,
place the question, because
yeah, very
for
short,
the
very
10
short,
to
very short.
15
I'll say
minutes,
like in this
yeah,
new sort
because
of like expressions, how do you think the states like Bangladesh, India, and China will? Do you think they will formally negotiate with the Arakan Army, like they have been doing? Yeah, partly like with the state, that the state feel it kind of like, and the neighboring states also feel it the Rohingyas to delivering justice. How do you think that the state will kind of like, especially Bangladesh, India, China, they will negotiate with the Arakan Army if they take over the entire township, like when it comes to basically getting and just getting a new sort of political establishment in Arakan? So do you think that this will happen and the government will legally, officially take up this thing with the Arakan Army? They will first recognize them. Do you think that they'll officially kind of like negotiate and make up relationships with the Arakan? Because the
okay,
China
yeah.
and the India is also part of their
Yeah, thank
projects
you.
in
Thank you.
China.
I asked Alijo, Shakira, and brother Peter Saiful and others to note down the questions. And we are also on live in Facebook, so we got some questions. So one of the question was like, that's related to my next question, that Athena Ahmed, she is a research assistant at SIMEC Institute of Technology, International Research Center. So she has asked that how can the Rohingya community be empowered while living in Bangladesh, and what measures should be taken now? That's what was the question. And another question was asked by Rosana Rahman. She asked that how many of your local organization working for the Rohingya right? Okay, how many? So now the question, as I also know that there is a host of organization working in the camps, outside camps, and even in European countries. So my one of the questions that I have outlined in the very beginning was that, do all the Rohingya, irrespective of their religion, irrespective of their gender orientation, or irrespective of the location of living, are on the same page on the Rohingya issue? What I am meaning that on the Rohingya issue, when we are talking about that, okay, we want to go back to Myanmar, okay, but there are attached demands. Some say that, okay, recognition to the Rohingya is non-negotiable. Some say that, okay, with that, citizenship, giving back the citizenship should be there when you go back. Another is that, as all of you have also talked about the justice, accountability, the perpetrators should be brought back to justice, they should be punished. That these are the three, and one is that the returning reparation, that returning back the property, whatever been captured or whatever the property damaged, they should be given to the Rohingya. So this all four came, like the three came in this discussion, and the four that I have added based on my research when I was being interviewed in the Rohingya refugee camp. Like, do all the Rohingya are on the same phase that, okay, we will not go back until unless we are recognized as Rohingya, until unless we are not given citizenship rights. And on the approach to bring the case to ICJ or ICR, are all the organization are on the same page, taking the case to the international court?
Can I go first?
Yes.
Okay, my question here first. Do you ever see any community in this world, any country that came in the same page for something? No, right? So why this question been asked to the Rohingya community specifically from the beginning until today, and I don't know for how long? Why this is so unfair? Are we not human as well? We see, I live in America, and we have two party. One party is so this, another party is so that, and there was a people neutral, and they have no issue why America never come together or something. Nothing was asked to American, why you don't support this group, why you don't support that group. Freedom of speech. You as a human have a freedom of speech. But we come together when it comes to the, as a human, what is our rights, right? I have a rights to live a free life. I have a rights to be citizen, to be a citizen of some country. I have a rights to be practice whatever. When we come to the words, everything is kind of same. But when we come to the Rohingya, we forget that actually Rohingya also as a human have a freedom of speech. No one in this world will ever come in the same table, same community and say that, you know what, let's do this. And this is what's going to happen. Never in the history, never in the present, never in the future. And it is good. That's how a collective voice, you know, we practice a collective voice. That's why we need not 1%, 2%, 3%, but everyone in the same table to contribute our opinion, our suggestion, and to come up with a collective solution for the community. And it might be good for some people, it might not be good for some people. Example, I was born in Burma, in Arakan, in Butidang, and I lived my life in Malaysia for 20-21 years, and now I'm in US. My background has been changing time to time, right? When I was Burma, my background is different, my opinion, my stand, my environment is different. When I was in Malaysia, I was different. Now it's different. With the time, Rohingya are forced to change our position. We are forced to integrate to the community. We are forced to adjust in the environment that we are given to, right? Right? So why we are even asking this question, why are not coming to the same point? I feel like this question needs to be stopped instead of asking and bringing the voices from Rohingya community collectively. Doesn't matter who you are, as long as you're Rohingya, you are Rohingya, you want your country, you want your rights, you want your name, come to the table, don't judge us. First of all, that's how you start the conversation. And I feel like, of course, the first thing you've been hearing from all the activists, political leaders, the community itself, the refugee itself, if we have rights to go back home, we will go home. That is the first demand that we have, right? But is it happening right away? No, people are still fleeing the country. The conflict still happening in Burma, right? And Rohingya in the camp, are they receiving all the necessity that they need? Are the Rohingya in Malaysia, in India, or in Indonesia, are they receiving the basic needs? No. How can we ask them one question? Why not coming to the same table? I'm sorry, I'm just get like even upset with the question. It's really, including like Rohingya to Rohingya asking this question, I'm getting more upset. But I need the world to understand that don't put us in that position, but instead bring us to the table, ask us what we want. We want safe to return home. We want durable solution where we are living. We want resettlement, because if the other things are taking time, I'm as a human, I'm getting old, right? I have my needs, I need to fulfill those. So I need a better space. And that's my right to ask. And we cannot group and find one solution for one community. The rest of the world gets so many opportunities. Why we only left with one? And even that one is not given, don't know when. So there won't be any one solution. Have to have a several solution for the people who want that for them. But in the end, we want our land. Why we having this meeting, but this webinar? Because we want our voice to be heard, which is we want our freedom. We want our citizenship rights to be given back to us. We are not stateless. We have a country, we have a name, we have one ethnic, right? This is the end goals. And we will be fighting for this forever. So please don't ask us what is one thing that why Rohingya are not coming as a team. We are very talented people. We have ideas, we have talents, we have opinions, and we are exploring. We came from a very oppressed region. We were kept in an open prison. What else? What other words we can express our conditions? We are not allowed to move from one a village to another. We are not allowed to pursue our education. We are not allowed to do work like other people. We were kept inside. On top of that, we are oppressed. The fear in our heart was created, and it will take generation by generation by generation to come out of that trauma. I have my own trauma still. And I cannot ask myself to just come out of the trauma. No, it will stay with me. So don't put Rohingya in a place where give us one solution and we're going to do that for us. Nobody going to do anything for us. We need to do things for us. I will say the earlier question, how Rohingya can contribute to the things. Rohingya need everything. We need education. We need healthcare. We need livelihood, to earn and to work. We need our voice to be heard. And we are so talented. Stop asking solution from people and let's come together and find solution for ourselves. Let's volunteer ourselves selflessly and say that this is what I can do and this is how I'm going to contribute. Doesn't matter if someone going to support me or not. I think the stand that we take for ourselves, the responsibility that we take for ourselves is so crucial. Stop waiting for people say something. Let's do this together. I really feel that Rohingya who gone through all this trauma, who go through all this pain, we are actually very, very talented. We are brave. We are resilient. Once we open our heart and minds, you will see how much we can bring the impact to our community. I am very proud of many of us, including myself. Why should I left behind? I am proud of myself too, to be here, to be talking, to be doing what I do, and seeing that other people are capable of doing it, providing a similar opportunity, we should come together. So now is a time for us to rise and let's do it. We have seen so many countries. Bangladesh itself is a big example. The youth come together and now, you're enjoying what we want. Why can't we, Rohingya, the youth come together? Forget about the rest. So when you ask what we can do, ask yourself what you can do first. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. My question was just to understand that what the diverse voices the Rohingya won, because I won the diverse voices in the table. So you brought out that. Okay. So it was not like keeping you in the one case. I won many more cases. Okay. So as you have said that you are a Rohingya woman, and I have tried to reach out, but I couldn't get. At last, I got you. So thanks for being the part of the webinar and also opening up your heart to speak very like eloquently and very sharply. So I want to finish within 2-3 minutes. We have 3-4 questions. Just one question was that like how many Rohingya organizations are there? I have no idea because I know there are many. Like if you have any kind of trace across the world working on the Rohingya rights, if there is. And there is one question particular to the Alijo that has your organization reached out to the Bangladesh government or even the Indian government, because you are in India, to include the Rohingya people whenever any policies is made or any kind of discussion on the Rohingya repatriation or any Rohingya issue is going on? Like there is a questions from Hafsa because you have raised the point to include the Rohingya. Yes. And another question was that already like you have answered, but as the ask, I also put that, do you think that you can safely return to your country? So for that you have a condition. Okay.
Thanks, Hafsa, for very kindly asking that question. I think both these countries, like both these government, have the opportunity to include the Rohingyas. Rohingyas are waiting for that. We did ask all the government in the region to include, as I just mentioned on live. I believe there would be government official listening to the conversation as well. And we did send letter to government official and we did spoke with government official to include the Rohingya in the conversation. But I think it's the responsibility of the hosting government to include the Rohingyas in the conversation. As Sister Sharifa was mentioning about, the question, why Rohingyas are not united, when we would see that. I just wanted to maybe touch upon that as well. When Rohingya are being expected to be perfect victim, do we, the host communities, ask ourselves, are we perfect host for the Rohingyas? I think we need to ask that question to ourselves as well. I'm posing this question to the host communities. And there were something touch upon the recognition of the Arakan Army by the regional country. I wanted to touch upon that, whether regional countries recognize or not recognize, the international law for crimes, criminal activities, terrorism, racism applies to everyone, regardless of whether it's a country military, it is a state military, or it is a non-state military. Arakan Army, if they don't allow international communities, for example, Red Cross, to go inside Arakan, help the prisoner of war that they are holding now, including the junta members whom they are holding, there will be coming a day very near future, Arakan Army will face severe international offense, frame offense against them, because international law applies on everyone equally. And on the organization, how many? We don't have any idea about it. There are civil societies, there are organizations from the Rohingya communities, there are semi-government organization working on that. But I can tell you one thing, that's most of the organizations, whether it's a civil society organization or it's semi or the state-led organization, involvement of the Rohingya should be a must. There can't be any negotiation on that whether we should include Rohingyas or not in this conversation. If it is about the Rohingyas must be included. It is as easy as if it is a discussion about women, should we include a woman? I don't think that's even a valid question. We should involve women, otherwise we won't find the feasible solution. It is simple as that. Rohingya should be included, and it is a responsibility and obligations of the host communities to make sure that that's happening. There was another question on
like how many
repatriation.
Rohingya organization are there? Like, do you have any idea?
We don't have any specific detail on that. I don't think even anyone have, but we're trying to do that. Like, there are needs for strategic discussions. Countries needs to be doing that. Actually, the host communities, if they are claiming that we are supporting the Rohingyas to go back and find protective life, I think the host countries have the responsibility to all do this and help the Rohingyas do this.
Okay. Thank you. Like, we will end up. So before that, from the Facebook, one comment is there, Paul Greening. He has written that A didn't commit genocide in Arakan. The military did. While A is probably guilty of crimes, we shouldn't equate them with the Myanmar military, who is far force. Like, if Sharifa and Alijo within two to three lines comment on his comment, that we shouldn't equate what the A is doing with the Arakan Army is doing with the Myanmar.
Thanks for that question. Simply, it is the international legal mechanism who should bring that level, whether they committed genocide or was complicit or all these things. And to do that, Arakan Army have the responsibility to allow international community the mechanisms to come in and see the proofs inside. They should be calling those people, okay, we did not do the thing you're saying we did. See, these are the things. It is not like make a propaganda video taking a Rohingya on the shoulder and post it on social media, that does not justify the crimes you did. So proper mechanism investigations groups should be allowed there, investigate and find out whether they did criminal activities against Rohingya, whether they did genocide, whether they were complicit. If they are not allowing those things to happen, then they did. There is no other, there is no conflict on that if they're not allowing these investigations mechanisms to go in and find out what has happened, they did. That's why they have something to hide. That's why they're not allowing to do that.
Okay, thank you. Sharifa, sister, if you want to respond to that comment.
Sure.
Quickly.
So very quick. I feel like before us, the victims, how you think the perpetrators are, you should first recognize that whatever the perpetrator is doing is wrong. Whatever Arakan Army is doing is not entertainment. Rohingya has been forced to leave the country. My own uncle in their camp, they've been kidnapped him and like keep him for several months already. We don't even know where he is. Entire his family has been, displaced. So question them first what they are doing before you ask us what is our stand. We are the victim. We've been killed, we've been burned, our place been taken away from them, our parents, our father has been kept by them. So before you ask our stand how you feel, see with your eyes what's happening in the ground. That is the first step. And I always feel like why Rohingya are so easy to be targeted and why we are always be questioned. Why we have no rights to question other people. And I think once we stop the questioning the Rohingya, we can see that actually what's happening in the ground with clearly. And what will happen is next. But first recognize what they are doing is wrong first. And stop defending anybody, but see clearly what's happening. And don't put victim in a position where they have to feel forgiven. There was a time a few years ago when a group of people come together and fighting for the freedom. Everybody was asking Rohingya to forgive. Will you forgive if your father's been killed in the hand of them? Will you forgive your mother's been raped? Will you forgive if your house and your childhood been destroyed by them? It's not easy to forgive. You can't even forgive someone who stole your phone. How can we forgive someone who keeping our father away from us? So don't ask us the question, see what's happening in the ground and recognize that it is wrong.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you to all. Like today's discussion was engaging and also enlightening, and we have also asked some critical questions and you have given very good very critical answer to that. And the main objective was to bring voices. The title is also the Rohingya Youth Voices, not only a single voice. So the idea was to listen diverse perspective and also from the camps, outside of the camps. And we tried to reach out, but we couldn't get as much as speakers as we wanted and make it more diverse. But at least we are successful to bring at least 6 speakers to the panels, and those who have also joined us for them. As a summary to that webinar was that all the Rohingya wants to go back to their homeland with full dignity. That means with the recognition, that means with the reinstatement of their citizenship, and also with the safety and security. And also some wants that international security force presence so that they get safety while they're staying. And also the bringing the perpetrator to the court, give them the punishment that they deserve according to the international law. So, and the speaker have also pointed out in the temporary situation, wherever they are, the international community should provide them humanitarian assistance and also make them capable to engage locally, to access jobs, to access education. And also the host countries of the international community should take the Rohingya voices into account and even bring them to the discussion table to listen to them whenever there are any discussion on the Rohingya issue. The last point that we have talked about on whether the AA recognized the refugees or not, that was one of the crucial questions that what the Alijor and Sister Sharifa and other have pointed out, that each person has their own right to identify themselves as the way he or she wants. The Rohingya community doesn't need any kind of recognition from any outsider because they are Rohingya by their own ethnic composition and own ethnic identity. Don't need any kind of recognition. And what they have spoken about that the international community should pressurize Myanmar, and other countries should also help other actors, those who are involved or complicit in perpetuating genocide or atrocities against the Rohingya refugees. So these are the main points of this today's discussion, and I actually enjoyed listening all of you. I am thankful to you on behalf of my organization. I thank Sharifa Shakira, Peter Saiful, Imran Muhammad, Alijor, and Mujib Khan for joining us today. And those who have joined in the Zoom and also listening on Facebook, thanks to all, and thanks for asking some questions. And hopefully we will also communicate with you for our next session that will be on understanding from the Bangladeshi perspective on the Rohingya issue. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
so
Assalamu
much
alaikum.
for
Thank
inviting.
you. Assalamu alaikum.
So thanks to Bangladesh for being so kind in hosting a million Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh and trying to help the Rohingyas in resolving the issues.
Yeah.
Thank
have
you.
been.
Thank you. Okay, stay well.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.